and it doesn't. We don't have. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have audio pause. But what? Last time we did that, we forgot to turn the music off. What? And holy hell! Why is the camera a mile away? Yo,
What?
bring the camera like to the middle of the TV.
Is that
Perfect. That's perfect.
okay?
Are we ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready whenever. Do I
Am
just
yelling
tell
at
the?
the screen?
Do I tell the timer person when I'm ready to go?
Yeah. Whenever. Ready when you are. So count us
Okay.
down.
All right. We'll just go then. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Peaches. This is Kid Chameleon, and this game is originally released for the Genesis, but I'm playing it on a Wii on the Virtual Console. So I feel like this is a game that hasn't gotten too much attention, so I usually try to run it in these marathons. I guess the Genesis wasn't very well known for its platformers, but I really, really like this game because it's a really unique platformer. So the story of the game is that there's like a new virtual reality video game system that comes out in an arcade, and you just walk into it and step inside, and it transforms you into a virtual realm. And the boss becomes sentient and starts kidnapping kids by defeating them at the game. So in order to save the kids, you have to beat the video game and free them. So it's pretty meta. It's just a video game about playing a video game. And the actual platforming mechanics are relatively straightforward. It's like you start in a level and you need to reach the end somehow, either by touching a flag or by teleporting out to a different level. And you do that using these different masks that transform you into different versions of the kid that have different powers. So this one that I have right now, it allows me to climb walls. But, oh yeah, I guess you did see that. It was right after I got it. So by tapping the special button, I was able to climb that wall. And the really cool thing about this game is that there's a whole bunch of levels. I think there's something like 109 or something. I don't know. It's been a while since I've looked at the level list. But there's branching paths that go between all of the levels. And you can go through as few as, I think, 3 levels. Yeah, at the end of the second level, you can just warp to the final boss. Or you can go through as many as, like, I think it's like 98 or something. But there's no way to actually go through every single level on a single playthrough. So there's a whole bunch of really cool replay opportunities. And sorry, I had to concentrate on that jump. I think it's a really, really cool game to speedrun because these different powers give you a lot of different opportunities to beat the levels in different ways. So this one that I have now allows me to fly by tapping the special button, and that ends up being really, really powerful. And you might think, well, why don't you just keep that forever and just fly above all the levels? So one of the reasons why you can't do that is that it's not actually always the best to have, and you'll see that later. But this is a super powerful helmet that lets me fly, and I want to keep it. I want to make sure I don't lose it by getting hit too often. So if you look in the top left, there's some gray and black circles, and the gray ones are my actual health points, and the black ones are health points that I've lost. So if I get hit one more time, I lose this. So it adds kind of an element of risk to the run because not every level has all of the masks. So this is a very high value mask in this level because it lets you fly over all these platforms that would otherwise take a really long time to get over. And I'm going to take this a little bit safe here. So let me beat that level much, much faster than I otherwise would have been able to. And it carries over into the next level, obviously. So it allows me to beat this one quite a bit faster than you're normally supposed to. So it's really cool. I like it. It's a really cool speedrun. Totally one of my favorite games since I was a kid. And I think the speedrun is very interesting and unique. And even when I was a kid, I used to just play this game all the time. It felt like every time that I played it, I felt like I found a new level that I'd never been to before. So if you're watching this and you like platformers and you think this looks like a cool game, I cannot recommend enough that you should go and try it out. Because in the speedrun, in this particular category, even though this is the all boss category, you're still missing a whole bunch of content. And that's a good segue into explaining the category that I'm doing. And this category is the 4-boss category. I guess it's the same as all bosses. Because in this game, there are a couple different special warps that you can take. And they will either skip just the first boss, just the second boss, the first 2 bosses, or the first, second, and third, and it just warps you straight to the final boss. And I happen to like this category the best because I feel like it shows off the game. So ooh, I really don't want to get dripped on here. Okay. Okay, so there's a couple different main categories of the game that people run. I would say the main ones are any %, which is where you just warp straight to the final boss, which is kind of boring. It's like a 90-second run. It's extremely fast. There's the 100K trip, which is a special warp that takes you halfway through the game if you speedrun the first half of it, which is sort of cool because there's not too many games where they really hard code in a reward for speedrunning. Hang on, I gotta think about what this next level is. Alright. I only have 1 HP here, and it's pretty easy to get hit by these tornadoes. They are RNG, so I want to try to concentrate. If I saw a tornado, I would have tried to dodge it. That's one of the few instances of RNG in this game is some of the enemies. But anyway, back to the categories. There's also 4-boss, which is what I'm doing. And there's like it's not quite a max level. It's kind of a weird sort of arbitrary category where you can't actually go to every level. But it's like the maximum levels that you can do in a single playthrough. And even that kind of has a little bit of contention to it because there's technically some levels that are like one-way dead ends where you go into them and the only way to get back out is to go to the previous level. It's kind of a weird concept. And there's a tool-assisted speedrun on taskvideos.org that does maximum unique levels without backtracking. It sounds like super arbitrary, and it goes through as many levels as possible without going to one of those one-way dead-end levels. So there's all sorts of fun that you can have with this game, even if you're speedrunning it.
Do you have time for a quick donation, by the way?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so we got $5 from Cryptify, love me some Kid Chameleon, and some peaches. We also have $5 from Nosrafe. How's your big rig?
It's pretty big, thanks for asking. Whoops. Okay, so, okay. I actually wanted to get hit there. The reason why I wanted to get hit, I didn't want to ram those enemies and kill them. You might notice there's a no-hit bonus that gives me some points. And points are bad in 2 different ways. The first is you just, like, functionally have to watch them tally down. So if I were to have taken a hit, then I wouldn't have to watch those points tally down, which saves a bit of time. Additionally, every 50,000 points, you get an extra life. And I just got an extra life on that previous level. You have to watch it bounce around for like 6 or 7 seconds. And there's a couple cool ways that technique can be interacted with. Before I get to that, though, I want to kill this boss. So this is the first boss. It is a bunch of heads on a shish kebab. And the actual in-game level name for this level is the Shishka Boss. So it's sort of a very self-aware title of how ridiculous it is. Oh, okay, that's kind of bad. Alright, so that messes up the quick kill. But because I weaken most of the heads, that shouldn't set me back too far. Generally, all of the bosses go in a predictive cycle. Okay, I don't mind losing that because I just have to bounce on him until he dies. That's not too bad. Okay. So each of those heads has 15 health points, and you can damage them either by jumping on top of them or hitting them with certain mask powers. So you can either throw axes, or there's like a samurai sword that you can swing into him. And you're going to see more of those guys soon. So where was I before that? I think I was talking about, oh yeah, the bonus points. So throughout levels, I will either try to purposely get hit or purposely pick up an item to get rid of the no prize bonus. And I restarted the round there because I only had 1 HP, and I need 2 because I have to soak a hit on those shooter bricks on the right. Okay, these are tough jumps. Okay. So by taking that route, it lets me just move that wall to the right. So I think that's a pretty good example of showing how the masks and different routes can really break the game. But yeah, I'm either going to try to collect an item on purpose in certain levels or get hit on purpose in certain levels in order to avoid those bonuses. And over the course of a whole run, you end up skipping enough points that you're probably going to miss a couple one-ups that you may have otherwise had to wait. And ideally, I will not be dying at all in this run, I hope. Fingers crossed. Hope I didn't just jinx it. These are some pretty unfriendly jumps. That's actually like the intended way to do that. There's no other way through this level. So this game was a little bit infamous for its difficulty, at least for its time. I know now we have like Kaizo levels and stuff that are specifically meant to be extremely hard to beat, but this was back before that was a thing. So at the beginning of this level, I cut down the ice, and the ice actually shot a projectile that broke through more ice, and it just kind of like did a chain reaction. That lets me fall through this level way faster than you're supposed to, and I really do not want to get crunchitized by these platforms. Platforms are pretty glitchy in this game, where if there's 2 moving next to each other, if you touch kind of the seam, even if one's moving up and one's moving down, you will get squished and die. And that's really, really bad, because that's pretty much a run killer, because I would have to go through that level normally because I wouldn't be able to cut the ice downwards. So I think that's a good example of how this helmet is really, really good, but it's not the be-all end-all. I say as I pass completely over this level. So that's the reason why it's kind of a run-ender, because you really do want this mask. But if you die on that level, then you cannot cut the ice downwards. And if I was being really greedy, if this was like world record attempts and I gotta save every frame, I would have soaked that hit on the whale. But I want to have as much HP as possible for a pretty important trick coming up in the next level. Whoops. Alright, that would have been like run over if I got that helmet. Because that helmet would make me 2 units wide and I wouldn't be able to fit through that gap I just made. Okay, so this is a pretty important trick here. I'm just going to try it. Okay, I got it. So if you do a double bounce on that goat, you'll be able to beat that cycle for the elevator. And it saves about like 11 seconds. So the reason why it's really good that I hit that is that if you don't get the double bounce, you can theoretically get that trick on a single bounce, but you have to land as soon as possible on the final pillar and then hit the ceiling and drop down onto it before you stop gaining vertical height. And that sounds complicated, but it basically means if you're slow, you have a chance of getting crushed. So because I got the double bounce, there wasn't really a chance of me getting crushed. So it was relatively safe. But yeah, if you get crushed, that's another massive run killer. So far we're outside of the kind of the awkward first boss. It's a pretty solid base. This is the first time that we see the, it's called the Minimax. It's the fly costume. It's kind of got some kind of Super Meat Boy mechanics. Alright, that was pretty good. So I guess this maybe is a good time to talk about gems. You might notice in the top right, I've got 36 of them. So far, you haven't seen them really do anything. Outside of most games like this, where it's kind of a one-up resource, where it's like 100 gives you one up, you use the gems to activate certain powers that are different depending on which mask that you have on, or which helmet. And for this particular one, I'm going to use it in the next boss fight. Where when I have the samurai helmet, using 20 gems will slow down all enemies, including bosses, which is what I'm going into. So this next level is the boomerang bosses. And I'm going to try to see if I can get this. This is pretty awkward to do on a GameCube stick, which is the only way I can play at the moment because the D-pad is garbage. Okay. Oh, very, very close to being perfect. That was very good, though. Every time that you bounce on an enemy, you gain speed. And on a boss where you are against the ceiling, you will speed up ridiculously fast. So it makes it very easy to just pop out. So you need very, very gentle movements of your stick in order to not go flying. So that was actually pretty good. Is there a system guide? Like, can I get a time check? I'm guessing it's like 15:20. No one can hear me. Well, that's what I'm assuming it's going to be. The world record touches that flag at about 15 flat, and I was assuming that I'm about 20 seconds behind. So I don't know. Maybe I'll go back and see how close my prediction was later. I hope it wasn't much more than that. Can't quite see. I got it open on my phone, but I got no time to look. Alright, so here I'm going to use the gem powers again. This is a really, really important level to not get hit on, because I need to get down here with 3 HP, because this guy will sometimes just blast me multiple times, and I need to be able to soak his hits. That's because I need to cut down through those bricks, and you know, if I had the tornado helmet that would allow me to fly, it wouldn't do me much good because I couldn't cut downwards. So I slowed down all of the enemies so they wouldn't have time to like do their animation to shoot their lasers at me. And that level used to plague my runs forever. I used to just, I used to go at full speed without using the jump powers, and I would just, hope and pray. And it's sort of a silly story. I remember I was playing this over and over and over, trying to get like the perfect run, and I actually had a dream about using that strat where I would have 20 gems going into there and then activate it to avoid the aliens. So I woke up and I was like, oh, I gotta test that, and it worked perfectly. So now I use it all the time, especially in a marathon run. I guess I suppose if I was ever going to try to like super optimize this, then I might be able to, bypass that and go back to rolling the dice. And speaking of which, if anyone is curious, the world record for this game is currently held by me at 28:15, and there's a few other people who have run this throughout the years, but no one's ever been super serious about it. I know it's not like a mega ultra optimized time. There are mistakes that were made in it, so anyone is welcome to try to blow me out and give me some competition. I think the next best time is like a 29:55 or something. I think Nest Kamikaze cut the 30, but I don't think anyone else has. But it is a pretty tough game. It's pretty unforgiving, and it's very easy for your run to just completely go south, because there is a lot of stuff that can go wrong in the game. But I happen to enjoy it. Thankfully, the RNG isn't too bad in this game, outside of a couple alien behaviors, like I was saying. Well, not alien behaviors, enemy behaviors. Like these guys are, I know they're here. They're scripted. They always fall down. Okay, so that's kind of a gentle hole to fall down. You want to try to kind of thread the needle there and just fall straight down it, because if you touch a wall, the fly suit will sort of stick to it for a bit before falling down. So if you can kind of thread the needle, it's nice and smooth. Like this one here. There we go. That was smooth. Alright, so I have 2 HP here. Depending on the cycles of these disappearing and reappearing platforms that you may see shortly. Like these guys here. Okay, so they just disappeared. That's going to make this tight. Get up there, get up there, get... Okay, perfect. So that was good. That was risky. Whoops, I don't want to go in that secret hole. It was risky, but it paid off. So that got rid of my no-hit bonus, which is pretty greedy because I really don't want to get hit in the next 2 levels. But I don't know. It's going pretty good for a marathon run, so might as well make it good. Really don't want to get hit by that, because if I have the fly, you can buffer a jump into that, which lets you get that much faster. If I were to lose my fly helmet, even after I already climbed to the top, then I would have had to touch the ground first before being able to jump at that brick, which is like a third of a second or something, but everything counts. So we're at the 3rd boss now. The canon name for this one is the Bagel Brothers, which I guess because it's a big city, I guess people in the city eat bagels. So as such, they are the Bagel Brothers. And I think if you're doing this one casually, it's probably the hardest, because the enemies, well, the bosses, their heads kind of like fly out of the screen often. That doesn't matter, it's fine. Oh boy. I almost died. I died. Okay. I deserve that. So now I'll try to be a little bit safer. I think it's probably the hardest when you're playing casually, but I would have said it's one of the easier bosses to do in the speedrun, but then I died. Thankfully, it's not contingent on having a certain mask going into it, so all I have to do is just redo it. The strat doesn't change at all. There. That's what should have happened on the first attempt. So I pre-jinxed myself. I was about to say that it's the easiest one. Okay. So I think that if somebody were to try to like hyper optimize the run, I think that the boss strats would probably be the biggest source of time save. I want to give a shout out to a viewer of mine who goes by, I think it's the Winslinator. Sorry if I butchered your name, but he was kind of doing some lab work and found some strats that he thinks would save a bunch of time. I have yet to check him out. I hope, like, they sound really promising. He made it sound like they save about like 20 seconds throughout all the bosses. So that would be really cool. It would give me a reason to like get back into this and try to really grind out a new time. Otherwise, I think probably, I guess if this game were to get into GDQ, I'd probably spend a bunch of time trying to optimize it. Otherwise, I'll wait to see what Winslinator's got cooked up, and maybe I'll try to help optimize it with him. But it's not like a complete game, you know, it's not like solved. I'm not just copying the tasks or something until I, you know, save enough frames. There's no frame counter like Mario. Okay, this is some pretty bad alien luck. Really hope that this guy does not come at me, and he is, so this is really unfortunate. The aliens, once they kind of soft lock on you, they really want to get you. And once they're on top of you, they just rain their alien piss down on you, and it's really brutal. So I'm actually just going to restart. I'm going to try to re-roll the dice there. That's super unfortunate, but I guess if that were to happen, it's really good that it happened on a run that is already, you know, has a couple errors in it. Okay, there's no way. I can't get them off me. Once they lock onto you, you have to break their eye contact with you. So hopefully I do not get pissed on. Okay, I'm in the clear now. Very, very brutal potential run killer there. Very frustrating mechanic. Outside of that, though, that's pretty much as bad as the RNG gets. But I guess I deserve that after I ran this at, it was SGDQ 2015, I think, and I just got absolutely amazing enemy RNG. Like every single time that there could be RNG, I got like the best possible. So every time I was like, oh, here comes a really tough part, I think people got kind of let down. Because that probably looks super easy. But now, there you go. There you have a taste of what bad RNG looks like. Oops, whoa, that could have been bad. So that guarantees that I'm going to miss a cycle up here, but that's fine because it's not a super long cycle, just this right here. So this is one of my favorite levels in the game. I think it's really hard, but it's hard in a fair way. And it's kind of interesting because no matter how sprawling the path that you take is, no matter what, you will go through this level. Well, unless you skip straight to the end. But otherwise, pretty much all paths do meet here. And I think it's cool because I think it's a cool level, even though it gets kind of cheesed in the speedrun by jumping up with the fly. And thankfully, there's a reset here. Really convenient because I want to have 3 HP going into the next couple levels. So this level has an interesting mechanic to it. I explained the bonuses earlier. So there's a speed bonus, which you get if you go faster, and then kind of like the level's predetermined threshold for going fast. And then there's the time bonus, which you get no matter what, based on how much is left on your clock. There's also no hit, no prize, and then there's a special bonus called Path Bonus, which only appears on a couple levels. And this is one of them. So if you get every single bonus that's allowed, so if you get speed, time, no hit, no prize, and path, the game lags tremendously in the score tally screen. It's like brutal. It costs like 4 seconds or something. So in order to prevent that, I hesitated slightly in the tunnels at the bottom of this level in order to open up a prize block and get a single gem, which it's useless to me. I'm never going to use that gem, but it prevented all that awful lag. So in this level, I buffer a jump to the left, and that's just to kind of hope that the alien doesn't fly straight into me. That wall is on a cycle, so it doesn't actually waste any time to jump to the left. This I would say is like one of the biggest run killer levels because it's just chock full of these aliens. So far the luck has been bad. Maybe I'll reverse jinx myself by saying that I have resigned to the bad luck, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so far so good. Okay, it worked. I reverse jinxed myself, took 0 damage. This is otherwise like a very, very, very painful segment of the game. It's very easy to get hit multiple times. So now you can be disappointed. So there's a helmet inside here. I specifically do not want to jump into it though, because if I jump into it, I go from being 1 unit tall as the fly to being 2 units tall as the cool snowboard guy. And I will die because I grow into the brick. So that's one of the only ways that you can really like instantly die in this game, is to be crushed, fall down a pit, or grow too big where you're not meant to grow. I think that's it. Oh, and also running out of time, but that's kind of apparent, I would think. So this is the second to last level in the game. And I slowed down just a bit to make sure that I got that 10 block, because you don't actually have to collect the gems when it has 10 inside of it. It just automatically gives them to you. I did that because I really want 40 gems, and this is cycle-based, so it doesn't actually lose any time. So 20 gems instead of slowing down time like for the samurai, it gives me invincibility, which is pretty convenient for this area because there's a whole bunch of these orange dudes who jump down. And even though I'm invincible, I still want to sort of avoid them because they like colliding with them does weird stuff. Like it'll kind of like mess with your momentum, and I have died because of that, because it'll mess with your momentum, and then you touch the ceiling without a brick on it, and the hoverboard guy really wants to, you know, ride on top of something. So if there's no brick for him to ride on, you flip. So I've had runs where I kind of like bump into those orange dudes, even though I'm invincible, and then I hit the ceiling and flip, so I die. So that's pretty frustrating. So I was still sort of hesitating, even though I was invincible. And here's the final boss of the game. He's pretty spooky. I'm not even going to look at him for a bit. The reason I'm not going to look at him for a bit is because he comes from the top and slowly starts falling down, and then he tracks you. So I'm waiting for him to go to the bottom, and then once he's on the bottom, then I can ride him. So here he is on the bottom, and then I'm going to get on top. Now that I'm on top of him, I'm going to ride him until his eyes pop out. And I do that by smashing my head on the ceiling and then moving a bit. Now he's dead, and his head splits in two. And if you want to get ready on time?
Yeah, 30-31.
30-31?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's not too bad. It's pretty solid.
Good stuff.
I'll take it. That works for me. Pretty rusty coming into this, so that's totally fine by me. It was really just it was the Shishka boss, and I got early Ellies. And then I had to reset on the aliens pissing on me, and then the Bagel Brothers. So outside of that, it's pretty solid. So once you kill the final boss, then you just, congrats, you won. It's the ending is as simple as the premise. So now that you've freed the kids, I don't know. These sprites aren't used at any other point in the game. I'm pretty sure some dude, some like art intern or whatever, was just like, oh, I feel like making some pixel art of my coworkers, and they're like, well, we got to use it somehow. So this is it. I guess technically they're seen in the beginning. They're like the people who are waiting outside outside the arcade game. But yeah, otherwise totally useless pieces of pixel art. But kind of a cool way to kind of, I guess, pay respect to the staff. Anywho, I guess that's it. I understand we're a little bit behind schedule, so I'm just going to hand it off to, I guess, the PC blocks next. Quake 2. So go for it. Thank you guys for watching.